Hello, mate.
Oh, no, hello, mate. How are you?
All right, right. Welcome everybody to episode 3. Today we are going to be talking about numbers, and specifically two types of numbers, which we're going to distinguish. But we've we've poetically called this episode "What's Your Fucking Number?" Because without this number, you can't make moves to set your own business up. Welcome to Unfinished Business. What's your number? And here we are again then, AJ. Episode 3.
Good af Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, mate. Nice shirt, by the
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Looking
thank you very
very
much.
snazzy.
Do you like my
I know.
my epaulets?
I do. Have you got cowboy boots on underneath that? Are you going to a line?
Yeah.
You going to a line dance of it? If I had some line dance music, mate, I'd play it.
Oh God, yeah.
Right, today, important subject, because what we're going to do, we're going to move on from introducing ourselves last week and who we're talking to, and we're going to start basically with the first thing that everyone should think about if they want to actually change their situation. Yeah, if they're fed up in their status quo with their job, with their lifestyle, with not having enough income coming in. We're now going to talk about the 4 initial steps. This is what we're going to do over the next 4 podcasts anyway, of what you should be thinking. We're not going to give you a plan of action yet, just getting your thought process in the right order, really. And it's got to start with, what's your number? And what do we mean by that? Well, there are 2 numbers, okay, that we could talk about here. We could talk about the minimum number that you need to achieve that's going to make a change to your life. Some people will always also say there's like an exit number, there's a retirement number, there's a massive number at the end, like I want to earn 5 million quid, let's say, and then I can retire. We're not talking about that number. That is way down the line. It's a number that we all should have, of course, but that's not what's going to get you off your couch into your non-comfort zone and push you forward to build a business. So we're going to break it down. I'll say that again later on.
I was nearly ready to go then.
I know you will. I'll catch you out. This is an in joke, by the way. You'll find out later. I'm going to actually go through how you get to your number, and AJ's going to talk about some questions you can ask yourself if you're not sure where to start with this whole process. Okay. Let's, for instance, start with an example that you're in a job and you're earning £40,000 a year. And your goal with your minimum number is to actually get to the same wage in a side hustle or in a business. We'd rather talk about business, to be fair, but side hustles, you can do it. Different mindset in each of those as well. But you want to get to £40,000 so that at some point you have the choice where you're earning £40,000 in your job or £40,000 in your side hustle. You have the choice whether you can swap your 9 to 5 for your side hustle or your business without a drop in standard of living. Okay, so 40,000 would be your number. That's your number that you need to get to so you can make that choice. Okay, you really do need to reverse engineer that down so that you need to know what you need to make per day or per week or per month. Because if £40,000 is quite a big number for most people. So you need to actually take it back to, a number that can be achieved on a daily basis. And then that doesn't lead to overwhelm, which again is part of mindset. And you don't want overwhelm when you're starting a business off. Trust me, we've all been there. So we've got the way I break that down. Did I say that again? Break it down. That's enough of that shit. Right. The way I break this down is I'd take £40,000. Do you like that, AJ?
Oh, such a child, aren't
We're all child, mate. We're all children. I'd get £40,000 and I would literally, that's your gross figure, obviously before tax. I'd divide that by 365 days. Because remember, if you're going to build a business online, it's going to work 24/7, 365, potentially. So if you break that down by 365 days, you are left with £109.58 to make a day. Let's round it up to 110 quid, right? That's the figure. You then need to work your business model out, which we will talk about in 2 weeks' time. You need to work out what sort of business model can get you to making that amount of money per day. And there are various business models that we can talk about in a couple of weeks' time. For example, though, if you were to sell a £15 ebook, for instance, because you have expertise in a certain area that's going to help someone out, right? Maybe it might be a tax area, it might be a pension area, it might be something to do with teaching, might be something to do with, I don't know, setting up a web page or setting up a sales funnel or something like that. You have that experience, or setting up a sales process if you come from a sales background and you want to write a quick ebook and you want to just get it out there and see how it does for 15 quid a time, you're going to need to sell 7.3 of those a day. Call it eight a day on average every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Okay, so that gives you some idea of what you're going to need to do to raise £40,000 a year. Doesn't sound a lot, but trust me, if you don't get the foundations right, even selling a £15 ebook can feel an uphill struggle at times, okay, because it's not going to happen straight away. I'm not going to go into conversion rates or anything like that. I'll give you another example. This is a personal to me. Eventually, I'm looking at possibly moving abroad, okay? So the number for me that I need to look at is I want to become a digital nomad visa, all right, to move to this particular country that I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention it because everyone will come there and it'll be like Little Britain. But to get a visa and a lawyer to get through the paperwork, it's going to cost me €4,000. And then to move, if I wanted to ship things and I wanted to container anything between €1,500 and €3,000 to ship things like cars or furniture or whatever, if I'm going to be over there. Your nomad visa in this particular country is a year and it's extendable for 2 further years. I'm going to need to produce the fact that I've got 10 to 15,000 euros in savings, okay, to the authorities out there. I need to factor in that I'm going to need health insurance, which is mandatory under a nomadic visa, which is another 1,000. And I also need to prove that I'm bringing in, as a digital nomad, a minimum of €3,500 per month, which is not generated from the country that I want to move to. So I've got to be doing that before I even think to move. Okay. And then, of course, on top of that, I've got what it's going to cost me to rent a place, what it's going to cost for their equivalent of council tax, which is bugger all, basically, the food costs, the petrol, all of that, all the usual stuff that you would do. That's how I'm working out my fucking number, and that's what I need to do. And I've got a 2 to 3 year plan to get there. So it's a long-term thing. It's not an overnight thing. So that's really basically what we're looking at. You need to go away and think about what is the number that is going to change your life. Now, it may not be replacing a wage for a wage. It might be that you don't want to leave your job because you like it. So I think, AJ, you've got another couple of questions that maybe, actually, forget that. I'm going to go off grid a bit here. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact, knowing you, that when you were running your cleaning business and you started learning about affiliate marketing, you approached it in a different way. You didn't necessarily have a number straight away, but when you made your first sale and the penny dropped that you could make money on there and the belief came, you then worked out your number from there, didn't you?
Yeah. Basically, what I got to a point where I thought, you know what, all I actually want to do is I just want to have weekends off again. You know, I didn't want to work 7 days a week again, because I'd already done, 13 and a bit years of working 7 days a week, and I was knackered. So my first initial number was I needed to know what I needed to earn to cover my weekend work. So that was between £300 and £500 a week that I need to earn. That wasn't, my intention wasn't to shut down my cleaning business. It wasn't my intention to do this full time or anything like that. It was just literally to take Saturdays and Sundays off, or be able to take off a Monday and a Friday and still work Saturdays and Sundays, whatever it was.
Yeah.
My number in theory was between £300 and £500 a week. So when I made my first online sale, which was $497, which is £390 or whatever it was, it happened while I was sitting at my kitchen island eating scrambled egg on toast, and it just appeared at like 5:07 in the afternoon, and I couldn't. Still to this day, it's one of the weirdest feelings I ever had because I never expected it to happen because I was brand new. I didn't know anything about making money online. I didn't know about sales. I was just literally taking a course that was teaching me how to do it. So when that first sale came through, and I thought,
Sorry, mate. How many weeks into this was this? Now your results ain't typical. That's a disclaimer because it depends on you went 100% all in, and if people
yeah,
haven't got the time to go 100% all in, then they ain't going to make it as fast. So it's a disclaimer.
yeah.
But
So
how long did it take you to do that roughly?
yeah, I made my first sale in just over 3 weeks. So I was 3 weeks and 2 days in when I made my first sale. I didn't then make my second sale to another 3.5 weeks after that. So that was, I came into the industry of affiliate marketing when it was sort of a gold rush. It was sort of like the
Yeah,
in thing at the minute. So I sort of landed at the tail end of it where people were still sort of very active in the market. So I got a bit of luck and a bit of fortune to make money that quickly. That's obviously not typical today. It's very different today. But at the same time, I'm not going to blow smoke up my own arse, but I did the hard work. I sacrificed my evenings. I sacrificed, I stayed up till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. No, even though I had to get up at 4 o'clock the next morning or that morning, I still stayed up and learned. I still stayed up and put in the effort of creating content and learning social media and learning marketing and all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah,
it wasn't easy by any long shot. It was still hard what I did, but it's definitely not a typical result these days. Um, so yeah, it's something that I obviously didn't expect. When it did happen, it flicked a switch in my head thinking, right, okay, so I can make money online by promoting other people's products, and the commission rate is high enough from one sale a week to give me 2 days off. So
yeah,
my number then became, okay, 300 quid from one sale gives me Saturday and Sunday off. I've taken a bit of a hit from not working Saturday and Sunday through cleaning, but I'd rather take that hit and have 2 days off than work the 2 days and, slog it out sort of thing. I knew that all I needed to do was make one sale a week of a mid-range ticket affiliate product. Now, after the 6th week, it then started to snowball a little bit more. One sale a week, two sale a week, 4 sales a week, 2 sales a day, etc. And it snowballed on and on and on I got to the point where I was earning not as much money, but close to as much money as I would have done running my cleaning business. And I had to make a choice. I made a bit of a risk. I took a gamble I closed all of my cleaning business down to put all of my time and effort into working online.
the
And
scaling.
those hours that I saved from working from 4 a.m. till 6, 7 p.m. at night, I was
Yeah,
able to put into working online.
yeah,
And it gave me the opportunity to then scale my business or scale my online side hustle at the time, so to speak, to a point where I went full time after 7 months of
yeah,
building something online. It wasn't easy. And, in between that, health issues sort of cropped up as, I had 2 seizures and 4 brain operations. But we'll get into that on a different podcast, and we'll discuss that a bit later because you've got obviously your health issues that we can discuss a bit later as well. But yeah, it's the old saying of you get out what you put in sort of
yeah,
thing rings true because I could have quit. I felt
yeah,
like quitting multiple times.
yeah,
There'd be days and weeks that nothing would happen. It was quiet. Nothing was like there was no views. There was no engagement. I predominantly utilised social media to gain know, like, and trust. I predominantly used social media to promote and become the affiliate. And when that shrinks down on you and nothing really moves and nothing really happens, you think you're doing something wrong. And you're not. People are still
yeah,
seeing you. People are still watching you. People are
yeah,
still getting to trust you. So it's,
yeah. That's
you
really
have to
interesting
just
how
keep
you
going.
came to your why though, mate. So, not your why, your number, sorry. So, yeah, yours came slightly later. What we're saying to people really, and this is with hindsight now, which is a wonderful thing
Yeah.
for everybody.
Massive.
Start
Yeah.
start with your number. Then start with your why, which we're going to talk about next week, and then start with the type of business after, which is going to be the week after, just to give people some idea of where we're going with this little 4-week period. If people don't want to, trade a wage or a job per se, because they love their job so much, they love their vocation or whatever, what are the sort of other questions they can ask themselves, mate, or other ways of thinking about how to come up with their number? Have you got any suggestions for people there?
I mean, if you're, in theory, the majority of people are making decisions based on obviously emotions. It comes down, the plenty of people that I've helped and coached, it comes down to the fact of what's the number that you need to take your boy to football or your little girl to football every Saturday morning. What's the number that you can work to that stops your other half from worrying about paying next month's gas bill or something like that? What's the number that you've got that in theory lets you go to bed and go to sleep without laying there for 3 hours staring at a blank ceiling, overthinking literally everything on the face of the planet, overthinking everything, worrying about everything. So, it's an emotional sort of thing. If you can figure out in your head what you emotionally want, what emotional number you want, you will get there a lot easier and everything will become more streamlined, because as a lot of people know, if you chase money, money runs away. If you're just in it to chase money, if you do earn money by chasing it, you'll only last 2 years, a year, maybe. So the point of having a number is what you aim for the money that then solves the issue. It removes stress. It removes arguments. It removes, doubts and fears and regret. It removes all the things that keep people trapped, basically. Pressures.
Debts.
Yeah, massively.
People will maybe not want to get out of their job because they've got a guaranteed income and they've got debts. Whereas if they actually worked out what their knowledge is worth and all the rest of it, and they can make a go of this, they'll clear the debts a lot quicker. It's a very emotional decision to make. Because particularly if you're, part of a family and you've got people relying on you, little ones rely on you, partners rely on you, parents who are aging rely on you. That's another big thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hard decision to make, to actually take the risk and go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It's got to be considered when you're coming up with your number. What's the thing that's going to actually take you over that line?
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing it for sole reason of just earning extra cash, chances are you will run out or burn out in a year or two, and it will fall flat.
I think actually there, mate, you're beginning to conflict. What's your number with your? Sorry, I keep saying that, but that's what we always say, don't we? Sorry about the swearing, but you keep conflicting. What's your number with your why? And the why is something we're going to talk about next week, but the why cannot be a monetary figure because it's not emotional enough. It's just a dream. It's a dream. It's not an emotional thing that you're going to come back to and is going to draw you through the hard times. Mm-hmm. So you're right. You can't chase the money, but you do need, if you like, that's the benchmark. That's the break even. If you're running a business, that's your break even point of where you need to get to. So you're not running at a loss, whether it be a financial loss, an emotional loss, or whatever loss, being stuck in your life and your status quo, being unhappy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I completely agree. Yeah, the thing that normally gets people through the tough times of if you're starting to learn something new is your big number, which we can discuss on a later podcast or later on, which is obviously your get out of the game number. Everyone obviously wants to win the lottery. Everyone thinks that £40 million is enough. When in theory, you could probably get away with, if you really wanted to, you could probably get away with earning, say your big, like you said earlier on, your number is 5 million. You could invest that and live off the compound interest for the rest of your life quite comfortably. Yeah. It doesn't, you don't have to live here as well. You can go somewhere cheaper and your money will go a lot further, etc., etc. But in theory, the way to start it is write it down. Write down your number. It makes so much more sense when it's out of your head and on a sheet of paper in front of you, and then stick it somewhere. Put it on your fridge door. Put it on, put it in your sun visor in your van or your car or something, so you see it all the time. And it's the same goes with like vision boards and all that sort of stuff.
Well,
If you haven't got nothing to aim for,
yeah, you've seen this office, haven't you? It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not vision boards. There is a nice car up there, but
yeah,
I've got the business models and the rules of business, which we'll bring that up next series.
yeah,
From our friend Mr. Cardone, and yeah, I've got numbers everywhere because you need that reminder. You've got to. I think that's one of the hardest things, isn't it, about all of this? You've got this lovely idea that you're going to go out there and build a business, but then you can set off with the greatest intention in the morning. You can do whatever you're into, all the stuff, whether it be going out for a run before you start work, so you're in a good mood, or you do your gratitude journal, whatever anyone does, right, to start their day off. And then suddenly reality kicks in when you get to the office and you've got an arsehole of a boss on your back or someone not appreciating you. Your head goes down and it's very hard to keep everything in your mind.
Yeah,
so I think
positive.
write it down, like you say, and put it somewhere that you can focus on and go back to that number.
Yeah,
that's all you can do. Anything else you want to add to this? Because I think we've pretty much, I know this is only a short episode, but there's not a lot more you can say. You need to start somewhere. You need to take that first step, that first action. And for us, looking back now, what we've both done, working out what your number is number one.
Yeah.
And then you move on from there.
Yeah. The only question I would probably suggest that you ask yourself, which could be very important, is it a need or is it a want? Is it a need that you want to, you need to quit your job, you've had enough, or you need to earn extra money because you're in debt, you need to pay off bills, you need to, whatever your need is? Or is it a want? Is it you want to have better holidays, you want to have a better car, you want to have, you don't have to you want to never set your alarm clock again, you want to spend time with your dog, your wife, your husband, your kids, whatever it is. At the end of the day, if you're working and you're employed and you do overtime or you do extra hours or whatever, the only people that ever remember that you did the extra work and stayed late are your kids and your other half. No one else gives a flying whether or not you work extra hours or not. So it's, it comes down to needs and wants.
Well, it's really interesting you mentioned that, because they're both different emotional responses. If something is a need because you can't afford your bills, or to keep your roof over your head with your rent, or you can't afford food for your kids and you're on beans on toast, like a lot of people are struggling out there. The food banks are being absolutely annihilated at the moment, as we all know, with what's going over in the UK. Then don't be hung up on just getting out of that situation your number. Because the good thing about all of this is it's a fluid process. Yeah. So you can get to that number and you can set another number then, which is a different emotional response, is to, right, I've got myself out of debt. I've got enough money in for the next couple of months for my rent and I'm safe, right? Now let's think bigger, and we're going to go for some wants. I want a holiday this year for my own mental health. I want to give my kids, some new clothes or some new toys. I want to make sure that, if I've got enough petrol in the car, that if I want to actually get out of here and go to the beach or something one evening just to chill out and clear my head, I've got enough petrol in the car. You can always revise that number up, but you've got to start somewhere, and that's what I say. It's almost like your break-even point, where you can. It's all about changing where you are to improve your life in some way. Yeah,
and your number doesn't have to be big. Like mine.
Hell no.
I was like, my number was £300 to £500 a week extra. So even if you just want to earn, £1 a day, or, you want to earn £100 a month or something like that, that's your number. Start there. Start at a number, at least start somewhere. And then you can then, like you just said, up it. Reach that number, make it bigger. Reach that number, make it bigger. And then you just up level yourself all the time until you get out, you do what you want. You earn enough money that you can walk away from any situation. That's the whole point.
I have one rule though. I have one rule with this. If you set your number, you can always go up. It's easy to go up because you can hit that target and go up. Never come down. Never come down, because if you come down, what you're doing is you're saying to yourself, I don't believe in myself. I don't think I'm good enough. Someone's got in my head and says, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are trying to do all this?
Yeah.
Just sit in your place and follow what the societal norm.
Yeah. Deems you to do.
Yeah. No,
Fuck
you've
off.
got to. Yeah, exactly. Do one. You've got to believe in yourself. So set that number. Set it as high it needs to be, so it's aspirational but yet achievable. And then you can't. You're not going to be disappointed. You will get there. It might take time. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. But as long as you're consistent, it's another thing you're good at. Consistent, and you never give up. You will get there in the end. Particularly if you've got good people around you and you've got a support network. That's the other thing. Keep this to yourself. Don't go out and tell all your mates what you're doing. So that's one thing I've learned. There's drains in life and radiators. Drains, radiators. Drains, radiators. The drains off and get around the radiators. People that are going to lift you up, emulate you, support you. And that's hard because sometimes it can be in the same family. But yeah, if you've got drains around you, just keep this to yourself. Set your number and believe in yourself. Like I say, you can always take the number up, but never ever. It's like discount. It's a dirty word. Never discount. Always give extra value. Never bring your number down. Set that number, and you can always take it up. I think we covered everything there, really, mate. That's not. We
Sounds all right. Yeah,
did we sound half intelligent there?
I don't know. We'll have to leave that down to the audience. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions, reach out. Reach out in the comments. One of us will always get back to you. It might not be, you're not allowed favourites here, by the way. You just get who you're given and tough. But yeah, reach out. Put any questions in the comments. Be glad to answer any of them. Like, share, follow. At some point we'll share our own socials, but at the moment we're going to keep this central because we can both get into this and answer your questions. And next week we'll talk about whys, and that's just equally as important, I think, as what's much more number.
Yeah, I think finding out your why is always, it's more essential than you think it is.
Yeah, and also leave below what you think your number is. You don't have to put the actual number is, but you could put the reasons why this is your number. Be interested to see how many people have got different things, because you hear about people saying, "Oh, I want to earn $5,000 a month, 10 grand a month, 30 grand a month." These rounded up numbers. What's a load of old crap?
Bollocks. Yeah.
To be quite honest, even for us, like, 500 quid a month, 100 quid a week extra, you take that out, 500 quid a month, and that's a holiday paid for, your Christmas paid for.
Bills.
Yeah, happy days. I mean, 100 quid a week, that's doable.
Yeah, that's very doable.
I mean, in my example, it was 110 quid a day. 100 quid a week's doable. Anyway,
absolutely.
Right, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, I've got to go out.
No, look at you high flyer.
I know.
Socialite,
right. Yes. Social butterfly, me.
Behave yourself. Don't do anything.
I'll try to.
All right. And
Who knows?
Catch up with you. I will catch up with you next week, son.
Yeah, sounds like a good old plan.
Right.
Well, thank you for watching, everybody. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and whatever. Hit the little bell and notifications and all that sort of nonsense. But yeah, cheers.
Cool. We're out of here. Cheers.
Yeah. See you later.